Hello friends, I am Uja sir. Today I am going to explain the first chapter of history of class 8, that is from trade to territory. So in this chapter we will have to discuss that how the British rulers, so they established their rule over India. So within 100 years, that is from 1757 to 1857, so Britishers they adopted the different methods to conquer the Indian territories one after another. So before I am going to explain, first of all, you must have to know that the periodization of Indian history, and this chapter I want to link with the last chapter of 7th standard. So the last chapter of 7th standard, where the political condition of India in 18th century. So how this political situation that is responsible for the rise of so many kingdoms in different part of the country. And the main objective of this particular chapter is to convince the student that when in India, people they are not living in unity, not believing on the factor unity. So the establishment of a British rule in India and the political condition of India in 18th century, so those are correlated with each other. In India, the political situation which was arise at the time, so that is gave an opportunity for these foreign powers to establish their political power in India. So there are so many European trading companies come to India for the trading purposes, but the English East India Company that was remained till last, because the English East India Company fought the war with the European companies and defeated them, and then the trade monopoly that was captured by the English East India Company. So before I am going to explain all such type of history of the establishment of the British rule in India, first of all we must have to know that what is the political background that was created and what are the circumstances those are responsible for the establishment of the British rule in India. So let me first of all explain the political condition of India in 18th century, which is favorable for the establishment of the British rule in India. In the last chapter of class 7 history, so this is well explained that how so many regional kingdoms those are emerged in the different part of India. Do you know what is the main reason for the rise of so many kingdoms in the different part of India? The reason is in 1707 the mighty Mughal emperor Aurangzeb was died, and after his death, so there is a vacuum that was created, and no other Mughal emperors able to fill the vacant which was created by Aurangzeb. So then, taking the advantage of this type of political weakness of the Mughal emperor, so then there are so many small kingdoms those are sprung up in a different part of the country. So in the last chapter of 7th standard, you must know about the regional kingdoms those are emerged in a different part of India. So this is the reason that the death of mighty Mughal emperor Aurangzeb in 1707. The regional kingdoms in a different part of India, so those are arise like Bengal, then Hyderabad, Awadh. So many small kingdoms, those are emerged in a different part of India. And at the time, these political powers in India, they start to fight against each other to show their supremacy over others. So this is an opportunity. And when there is the conflict between the two, the third one will have to get the chance. And this situation, it was arise at the time that the Indian rulers, they fought against each other, and the chances that was taken by the Britishers. So this is the political situation that was arise. So we can say that due to the death of mighty Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb in 1707, so there are so many regional kingdoms, those are emerged in a different part of India, and Delhi no longer works as an effective center, an effective political center of India. So now this political center, it was shifted to the regional kingdoms, and the power that was transferred in the hand of the Nawabs, the Jamidars and others, and which is create a political upheaval, or you can say the political situation that is favorable for the establishment of the political power by the English East India Company in India. So then we have to discuss about that by the second half of the 18th century, the new powers, those are emerged, and the British and other European powers, they came to India for trading purposes. Their main aim is to trade with India, and there is the economic objective, but the political situation of India that helped to transform this economic objective to the political objective. So Britishers, first of all, they come to India for trading purposes. They want to trade with India, earn a huge amount of profit, and that should have to fulfill their economic dream. But the political situation that was arise, that greatly helped them to fulfill their political objective. So they transform their objective from economics to the political objectives. So the situation that was arise in such a way, and the first European who discovered sea route to India, that is Vasco da Gama, the Portuguese navigator, so who reached or arrived at Calicut in 1498, and Jamorin was the ruler of Calicut. And at the time, the European traders, they always want to trade with India because they considered India as a land of golden bird. So in India, the golden birds, those are not available, but the way they earn the profit, so that is equivalent with the golden bird. So that's why every European traders, they want to trade with India, and the Indian goods like the spices and the cotton textiles, those are the most demandable commodities in the Western market. So the traders, those who will have to trade with India of these two particular things or goods, so then they are earning huge amount of profit, and that profit is equivalent with the golden bird. So that is the reason. And the Portuguese, then followed by the Dutch, then the French and the English. So all these people, the merchants, they come to India for spices and for the trade. So then we have to discuss that how the East India Company come to India, and the company how get the permission from Queen Elizabeth at the time to trade exclusively with India. And when the trade relationship that was started with India, so how this company became prosperous, and this economic prosperity of the company now changed its mentality how to establish the political power in India. So in 1600, the East India Company that was acquired a charter from the ruler of England, Queen Elizabeth I, that to grant the sole right to trade with India or with the East. So this is the royal order that was issued by Queen Elizabeth to the English East India Company. So this term, you must have to understand what is the meaning of the term charter. C-H-A-R-T-E-R. Charter means that is the royal order, so which was issued by Queen Elizabeth I to the English East India Company to trade with India. And with this, now the company ventured across the oceans and looking for the new lands from which it could buy goods at the cheap rate as possible and carry them back to European countries to sell as high price as possible. So this is the main motto of the East India Company, and which was established in 1600, and this company come to India for trading purposes. And the new term that you must have known what is the meaning of the term mercantile, because these mercantile trading companies in those days made profits primarily by excluding competition. So their main motto that how to purchase the goods as cheap as possible and to sell it in the European market as higher as possible. So this business, this particular trade is called as the mercantile. So this mercantile business that was started by the English East India Company. So then the royal charter that could not prevent the other European powers to enter into the Indian market. So all companies were interested in buying the silk and the cotton textiles from India, and also they want to purchase the spices. So these are the two prominent goods. So the pepper, cloves, so these are cardamom. So these are the so many spices, those are very demanded in the European market. So any European trading companies, they want to trade with India. Their main purpose is to purchase these goods from Indian market as a cheap price as possible and to sell it in the European market as high price as possible. So the charter, again I want to explain what is the meaning of charter. Charter means the royal order which was issued by the Queen of England, Elizabeth I. So who had given this particular order to the English East India Company to establish trade relationship with India. But as the other European powers are not given this type of order, so their country gave them the order. So now it is not possible for the English East India Company to control over them. So now each and every European countries, they want to take the two things, the Indian textiles and the spices, to European market, and where they will have to earn a huge amount of profit. So this is the trading interest of the English East India Company and the other European countries. So at last, so there started the conflict that British East India Company or the English East India Company want to establish its monopolistic trade in India. So then how is it possible? So they should have to fight against all other European companies. So then that is possible to establish the trade monopoly in India. So English East India Company started to fought with the other European countries one after another, and other European trading companies, they were defeated by the English East India Company. They are defeated and they are limited to certain areas as per the permission granted by the English East India Company. So all these trading companies, those come to India, so they brought with them the special, or you can say the spacious, the metals like gold and silver. These are called the bullions at the time. So these are very special for them, because in India, if they want to purchase the goods like textiles and the spices, so then they should have to use these metals with the Indian people for purchasing the different type of goods. So in this we can find that first of all the British company, the English East India Company used these precious metals like gold and silver to purchase the Indian goods from Indian market.